right now from New York. Great to have you with us. Hope you're having a good day. We've got an amazing guest joining us here, coming to us actually from beautiful Italy. He's got his espresso with him. He's all set. As I said, we're here in the New York area. Let's take you now to beautiful Italy. And Nick Loren joins us here on the show. Nick, welcome to the show, my
cheers.
Friend. You got I love it. How are you today or tonight?
I am good. Huh? I don't know if I can live up to that intro though, man. I feel at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's like, wow, that was quite an intro. Hopefully I can hang with you in
You certainly can, and you're always welcome here, my friend. But that's, we always just scratch the surface in the beginning just to remind people of some of the things that the guest has been noted for, but there's so much more than just that. How are things in Italy, and are you permanently in Italy? Or are you working in Italy? Tell us about the Italian connection.
Wow. Well, I guess I'll try to make a short story. I tend to go long on things. So if I go too long, just say, okay, we get it, Nick.
Put another pot of coffee on, Madge.
Go
with it. We have
long
time.
Story short, I'm sure you've heard that a million times. Long story short, there's a couple of things. So I was, over the years, doubling Travolta. Obviously, I made, a lot of relationships over the years, and you can only do stunts for so long, and you can only stunt coordinate for so long, before it takes a toll on your body. So you start, what's the evolution? I've always been a creative person. And so, producing was kind of my natural progression. So I have projects that I've developed in US. It's been becoming increasingly, it's a changing environment with films and television. And I'm sure, same with radio and what you're doing. But it's becoming more, I don't even want to say it's more expensive to shoot in the US because it's similar to what it was before. But what Netflix and the streamers and, some of these things, what they're willing to pay for the productions has become less because there's so much being, made worldwide that they can put into their system and they do well. So, I came here for a couple of reasons. One was to work on some production, meet some crews, meet other producers and production companies, and start setting up some productions internationally, particularly in the EU, because it's a little less expensive than it is to shoot in the US, which is unfortunate. But we have to look at, not that I'm not shooting in the US, we're still shooting US, but I have to look at alternatives, and certain projects will bring to Italy, Spain, and other EU provinces. The second part of that, long story short, is I met someone. My wife had passed away last year after a battle with cancer, which was very difficult. And through a mutual loss, I met Cassia, who had lost her father a month after I had lost my wife. And we connected in a very meaningful way. And we, kind of established a relationship. She was in Italy. I was in Los Angeles, and I had already been working on productions and things that we were going to bring to Italy and the EU. And I came out here and we met. So not permanently here right now, but I am here for a while, and we'll see, what happens as things progress with productions, and everything has been beautiful with Cassie and myself. So
that's beautiful.
Love
does find love, right? There's a reason for everything. Truly, really, and you were able to connect on so many deep levels, things that were happening currently, and then of course creating a new love story for each of you going forward. So that's really very touching and beautiful. And thanks for sharing that, because there might be other people that are going through something similar who feel, they'll never find love again or never even have somebody to spend time and joyous moments with. And you both have been fortunate, still honoring and loving the people in your life who've been there, but now something new is happening, and it's a beautiful thing, Nick.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's
Y-
been inspirational. It's brought me back to my music, which was my roots. And forgive me, excuse me. Um, it's been uh, it's
A
been
real
beautiful.
a journey, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah,
transformation, a transition, a journey, learning experience, all of those things. Exactly. I want to let folks know too that we are talking to somebody who didn't just start in this industry 10 minutes ago. Nick Loren is a multi hyphenate entertainment force whose 30-year plus career spans film, television, music, and production. And it's been a rare full circle journey shaped by longevity. And Nick and I were talking about that, how long we've had opportunities to be in these industries. Also, reinvention, which is important, and emotional truth, which he tells as his wonderful acting prowess is on the screen, but also through his music. And his film career began, as I mentioned, back in 1996 in Face
you're
Off.
dating me now. Now you're dating me.
1996. All right. You want me to say 2016?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
But then John Travolta would have to agree with it too, right?
Right, right.
It's where he began in addition to all of this, and he's had his own acting career and everything else, but he became the longtime stunt double and stand-in for film icon John Travolta. And that creative partnership extended across more than 25 films and over 2 decades, placing Nick at the heart of major studio productions and forging deep relationships with A-list actors, directors, producers, and crews. And the Onset Foundation became a launching pad for his seamless transition also into producing. How did that opportunity come to? We've had a couple of folks on the show who have done that kind of work. Sandra Gabel is one, and others. How did that come for you to be the stunt double and for some almost 30 years for John Travolta? What an incredible, friendship, relationship, and yeah, really, absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
he's Uncle Johnny to the kids. My oldest, well, again, I don't want to date myself or anything, but my oldest grew up traveling. We called ourselves a traveling circus. So my oldest, he was already born when I started with John in '96. But he was 4 years old at the time. And John and my sons, his son Jet and Tyson, my oldest, were the same age. So I'll start with, I was hired to double Nicolas Cage on Face Off in 1996 for 1 week because his regular guy had a role in the film. So I was kind of a stand-in for his double. And
I could see you look a little bit like both of them. Yeah, you
that's
do.
funny. So this was right before Christmas. And I heard when I got there, I had no idea who was in the movie. I knew nothing about the movie. I just knew there was going to be some stuff for me to do. And, I'm ready to, whatever it is, I'm ready to do it. So I heard John Travolta was working on the movie. Now, me as a kid, the first movie I went and saw in the theater by myself was Grease. And I was Danny for a year afterwards. Like, my mom was like, could you please stop playing the Grease album and singing and dancing all over the house? I'm like, no, I can't. But it was like something in my head said, I'm Danny. I'm going to be Danny one day. I'm going to, you know what I mean? And cut to 20 years later or whatever it was, however many years later, um, I'm hired to double Nicolas Cage. I hear John Travolta's working on the movie, but it's just before Christmas. I don't know if you remember the movie, but it was the prison scenes. So it was after they had already
Yeah.
changed faces and it was just Nick Cage in the prison. And then we were going to break for Christmas, and for me that was it. But I became friends with the second AD, Joan, and she asked me, "Hey, after Christmas, we've got big scenes where we've got SWAT guys coming in. We got a lot of stuff that we're doing. Would you want to come back? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So I come back in January when they started back up. And it was the first day back, and we were in it was called the Rotunda. It was like the stairs. It's where him and Nick Cage, that picture that you have, they're back to back on a mirror, you know what I mean? And they both turn around and go to shoot each other. And it's this whole shootout scene in Face Off. And he comes down the stairs, and we're just setting up the scene and whatever. And then he comes walking down the stairs. I swore I heard, I could just, he was just walking down with swag, and cameras weren't even rolling. I'm like, oh my God, there's
Were the
John
Bee
Travolta.
Gees there?
No, but it felt like it. I heard
Yeah.
him. I heard the soundtrack in my head.
Yeah.
So he comes down, he's talking to John Woo and the crew and everything, and get ready. And before I know it, I get a tap on the shoulder. I look over, and it's John, and he says, "You look really familiar. Have we met before?" And I'm like, Trust me, I'd remember if we'd met before." Yeah. He's like, "I'm John." I'm like, of course you are." "I'm Nick. Nice to meet you." And we had so many shared realities, music and movies, obviously, and dancing. Our sons were the same age, and we just kind of struck up conversations. And in between scenes, we'd chat a little more and became quick friends on the set. His double couldn't finish the last quarter of Face Off, and he asked me to finish it as his double. I did, and the rest was history. So I stuck with him for all those years since then. So that's where that relationship started. There was another question you had in there, and I forgot because, like I said, I tend to speak very long.
Well, it's amazing, and you've stayed friends all these years
Yeah,
since too, right?
yeah,
So now when
yeah, yeah,
people are
yeah. So
watching those movies, they're gonna be looking for John, but they're gonna be looking for you and say, "I think that's Nick too."
if it's the action, you're probably pretty much seeing me. And sometimes it's, there's moments where I'm driving the car up, and I park the car, I get out of the car, I'm walking towards camera,
Yeah.
and I'm in the theater going, how is nobody like looking at this going, oh my God, it's Nick. It's not even John. What are we? So, the relationship with John really started there on Face Off, 1996. And he asked me to continue on with him after that. And, discovered that, I'm an entertainer. So,
You are.
singing was my first love. And I was a struggling recording artist. I was trying to get a record deal and make some kind of money, doing what I really loved. And I was a single father. And it's okay if you're a starving artist for yourself. I can starve myself, but I can't starve my kids. So I
Right.
got into, film and television. I had friends, some that were actors, some that were stunt guys, and others, that were just like, yeah, like, get in and do that and make some money. And then you can get in the studio when you're not working. And that's how I got into the business to start with. And I was just very fortunate, and John has just been, I mean, he's like my big brother,
Mhm.
he's family. He's Uncle Johnny to my kids. Nikolai, my 22-year-old, he was born there. That's Tyson. That was Tyson, little Tyson there. He's
Wow.
34. He's 34 now.
Yes. Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, I
Look at
know.
this. I think is that Robert De Niro in this one too?
Yeah, that was Bob De Niro and John and myself. That was actually that picture was taken in Bulgaria. We
Wow.
shot a movie called Killing Season.
Mhm.
That was a lot of fun, and he's great.
Is this
That's
part of that too?
no, this is a different one. This is The Forger. We shot that in Boston.
Wow.
But yeah, we look pretty much, alike, and we've been able to get away with it. One thing I'll tell you this though, in 2008, we just finished. I had released my album. This is many, so I'm jumping ahead a lot, but 12 years later, after starting with John and kind of found a new career and doing stuff. I realized I wasn't getting any younger, and I didn't want to be on my deathbed going, I wish I would have pursued my music and at least tried,
Yeah.
and so I put my album together independently, and in 2008 released my first album, Forever Be Cool, while we were shooting the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah. That was a
Was
great
with
one.
John Denzel Washington.
Denzel
Scott was
Washington.
directing it, and yeah, it was a wonderful film. But I was fortunate to have an album release party while we were in New York at Nicky Midtown, which I don't think is there anymore, but at Nicky Midtown. And John showed up. Luis Guzman was there. Chubby Checker came. Tony Scott, our director, God rest his soul, was a beautiful, beautiful. He and I became very good friends, and he came to my record release party. Him and John were standing on the benches in the back, dancing while I was up on stage singing and performing. It was a beautiful night. It was such an amazing night.
Wow.
But Tony's assistant called me the next day, and he said, Tony never goes anywhere. When he's doing a film, that's all he does. That's all he focuses on is film, 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 film. And he's too, in his head about what's going on the next day. And he said he's never done anything outside of, maybe grabbing a quick dinner and going home. But he came to my record release party, and I just took that as like the hugest compliment. And I had a beautiful message, which unfortunately I've lost over the years, from Tony, just saying what a wonderful night it was. But yeah, I'll digress
How cool
there.
is that? That's amazing.
Yeah,
You know.
a beautiful.
You
In
know.
2000, end of 2000, to Paris to do a movie called From Paris with Love,
Right.
with John and Jonathan Rhys Meyers. Big action movie, so I had a lot of work to do in that one. And on just before I left, I asked John, so what are we doing? Like, what's the hair? What's the vibe? What's the I read the script. I know what's expected of me, but what are you gonna do? Like, what am I gonna look like for the next 3 months while we're shooting this film? And he said, I've decided to go bald on this one. And I'm thinking, oh no, because John's he's got a decent sized head, and I have a pinhead. I have a little head. So one thing we've been able to get away with over the years is I know how to, I can move like him. I got his vibe down. We're similar. Everything is, our facial structure is very similar and all that. But we always have hair, So my pinhead and his larger melon without hair, I don't know if I'm going to get away with it. Like, I had a feeling. I got on that plane to go to Paris, and I'm thinking, oh my God, shave my head. And the last time I shaved my head was when I was a kid, and I had a point on the top of my head. John does not. He's got a big round noggin. I got this little pinhead, and if I got a point at the top, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to double him on this film. And I really want to do this film. I want to be embarrassed. It's a big action film. It's going to be fun. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'm ready, but I'm like, I think they're going to shave my head, and they're just going to go, God, this is not going to work. You know what I mean? And we get there, and all right, excuse me, in my life, and they shave it, and somehow the point on the top of my head had rounded out, thank God, and we got away with it. I was fortunate enough, we got away with it, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Somehow the point of it rounded out. I wonder how it rounded out. What was your
I have
secret?
no idea. I'm asking. I have no idea.
You may have
Maybe
solved a
slept on my head
scientific
too. Maybe
medical mystery that would make a lot of people with points on their head very happy if they knew the
I
secret.
do come from the old school of, I was, one of the first, well, I don't know, one of the first, but early on in popping and breaking, I was a street dancer. So I was a street kid living in Long Beach, California. And that kept me
Breakdancing
off
and
the streets
everything.
and actually, yeah, right. So
Yeah,
maybe it was spinning on my head that flattened it out a little bit. I don't know, but I was fortunate
nice.
there. But we
That
had
is
two
amazing.
two kids. two kids. We were a traveling circus, and we had two kids that were born on films, literally while we were shooting films. Nikki, who's 22 now, was born while we were shooting The Punisher in Tampa. He was born in a hospital in Clearwater. And Destiny, my 19-year-old daughter, the baby, she was born while we were shooting Hairspray, which is fitting for each of them. And she was born, we shot in Toronto, but because SAG insurance, like our insurance for our union covered US, and they said, well, you can have her in Canada and pay for it, and then we'll reimburse you what we would normally pay. And I'm like, oh gosh, maybe that might be dangerous. So we made the trek from Toronto to Niagara Falls, USA, which was the closest US border town. And it's about an hour and a half drive. And 5 days, so we had appointments and we went down there and we thought, okay, movie's almost over. We're almost there. And 5 days before we finished shooting, Denise, my wife, had woke up and said, I think I've been having contractions for a while. And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, I was having contractions, but then I thought, well, it doesn't count because we're in Canada, and then went back to sleep. And I'm like, oh my God. So we get in the car and
Doesn't count because we're in Canada.
we actually got there in like an hour. I'm a stunt guy, so I got there pretty quick.
You got
45
there
minutes to
quick.
an hour.
He took that car and it went over semis and everything.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, he hooked the car onto a semi.
Whatever it took to get there.
That is
And
cool.
so Destiny was born in Niagara Falls, New York. So she gets to say, I'm a
Niagara
New Yorker.
I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a stunt double when you were a kid? Were you always jumping off, cliffs and
Yeah.
refrigerators and diving from one couch to the next in the house? Is that
I
something you always
jumped
wanted to
off
do?
I jumped off of roofs with umbrellas to see if those would work. That didn't work too well, but
The only
found a
one
way
that
to
can
land
do
where I
that is
didn't break
Mary
anything.
Poppins.
I tried. So yeah, I mean, I was always very physical and played sports and everything, and I was a physical guy. So the progression of that, the physicalities of stunts, was fun. It was interesting, and it made me have to keep myself in shape. But the other thing to that is, I'd read a script and like, okay, what are we doing in this one? And it's like, oh, you're gonna crash a motorcycle, and I'm like, I haven't ridden a motorcycle in years. Like, I better go out and start, working on this. So, every time there was something new that I had to learn, I just went out and I learned it, and I tried to learn from the best. And it just made me, better each time, because I don't know if I have a fear of failing. I just hate failing, and I hate looking like I don't know what I'm doing. And I sometimes overwork things to the point where I feel empowered and I feel like I've got this and I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can. And it's paid off over the years. John always called me one take Nick. So it was almost more pressure on me, because he'd say to the director, they're like, okay, here's what we're going to, and they're like, you think you can do that? Okay. And John's like, this is one take Nick. Like, Nick will do it in one take, no problem, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I got to do this in one take.
Nick for John
So
Travolta. Wow.
I try to go for it, and usually, not always, but usually we get stuff in one take.
That's incredible. I want to mention too that that 2000 album you did, Forever Be Cool, produced the title single Forever Be Cool, which reached number
Yeah.
6 on the US adult contemporary radio in January 2009. How cool was that, huh?
That was awesome. I mean, just that's where my love was originally. That's what I wanted to do, and to have that come full circle, and the beautiful record release party that we had in New York City. I actually injured myself on From Paris with Love, which kind of set me back, because when I got home, I wasn't able to. I broke my talus, which is the bone between the foot and the ankle. So I couldn't put pressure on it for 3 months. So when I came home, I wasn't able to go out and perform and do everything that I wanted to do to kind of, back up the single that was doing really well, but to see it rising up the charts was tremendous. I mean, it was such a blessing, it's full circle, it was my passion. Um, the crazy thing is at the time, and maybe I don't know if in what you were doing, PBS and radio and all that, if you were feeling the same transition, but it was the time of file sharing, Napster and all these things were becoming very relevant. And so one person would buy your album and 1,000 people would get it for free.
Copy it.
And
Right.
as an
Right.
independent artist and doing it on my own, and it's money out, promoting and building and trying to get all of that was money out. So it was and Tracy, my wonderful publicist, who set this up for us today, she was there for the whole thing. And it was humbling, but at the same time, I couldn't sustain it. We couldn't keep putting money out. It's like, okay, I got to get back to work and, make money and provide for the family and everything. So the unfortunate thing with music, and that was my passion and everything, is also I was the business person behind it. And when that happened, it hardened me, and it made me kind of not feel excited about the music, which was so unfortunate because it was such a wonderful thing. I should have been just enjoying the moment and performing and just, going with it. But it was a tough thing to go through. And at a certain point, I stepped away from music, and just focused on films. And that's when the transition into producing and developing projects and all that came to play, until recently when I was inspired to start writing again. So, the single that's out right now, 6,000 Miles, was inspired by the new relationship, that's Cassia there with me. This new relationship that I found in loss, in a very difficult time in my life. I found someone who saw me and understood what I was going through, and was going through a very similar thing herself. And it inspired me to start writing again. And that's what music was about for me originally, was passion. It was emotion. It was truth. It was me. It was from me. It was about me, and my story. And yeah, so I found music again, through loss and through finding someone very special.
Tell us
Six
about
thousand
the
miles away.
6,000. Is that where it comes from? Tell us about the
Mm,
title and the song, the music, and congratulations on all of that.
yeah,
Some beautiful
thank
things
you.
happening in your life, Nick.
Yeah, yeah. You go with the blessings when they come. Yeah, it was inspired by this new relationship that I found with Cassia Mundim. She's here in Italy. She's Brazilian, but she moved to Italy 20 years ago for fashion. She was a model, and has been living here for the last 20 years. So we just connected in a way that I didn't think was possible at the time, because I was so hurt. I was going through so much pain with my loss. But it was serendipitous. I don't know. Was it, maybe her father and my
Hmm.
wife that, there, that were saying these two people need to be, I don't know. I don't know. I don't question it. I just know that we found something special. And even, she mostly speaks Italian or Portuguese, not a lot of English. We found a way to communicate. We found a way to find each other and discover each other in a way that is beyond words. And that's, the song is really about that. It's about, it's 6,000 miles between us, but it didn't matter. The language barriers didn't matter. Some people didn't like the fact that I might be moving on, family and people that I know and friends that, are like, well, how can you, what am I supposed to do? Just live in sadness. And, it was difficult. It was very difficult. And
How
I
have
didn't
the
want to
kids
stay in
gotten
that.
through it
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
It's tough with the
So
kids, right?
it is.
Yeah.
It's tough all the way around, and we're all trying to get through it, and we're all dealing with it in our own ways, and we have to find our own way, and grief it's a terrible thing, I noticed through, tell me if I'm getting too personal, but I mean, I think it's life.
No,
I think
yeah.
people
No,
that
that's
have
what we
been
do,
through
yeah.
loss understand too, I found myself like, for example, on Facebook, you know, writing about loss at first, and this is what I'm going through, and this is what, and people would, beautiful messages and beautiful outpouring of love and all of that, that was loving and kind and wonderful, and everything. And it helped in some way, but grief sucks. I mean, grief, it just comes when you don't expect it. You could be laughing and having a good time, and suddenly you just start bawling, and I noticed, energy creates energy. What you put out is what you get back. And I started realizing that the things I was putting out was about loss. It was about grief. It was all of those things. And I thought, I have to change what I'm putting out there, because what I'm getting back is, oh, I'm so sorry. I feel, it was that. And that kept me in this really heavy place of sadness. And so I changed it. I started writing about positive things. I was looking through pictures, and the next single that's coming out is a song called Enough. I was looking through pictures, and I saw an old picture of myself, and I looked at it, and I was like, wow, this is 20 years ago. And I looked amazing. But at the time, I didn't think, I wasn't there. I wasn't enough. And it was something I struggled with. I realized kind of my whole life. Like, even when I was in a great space, even when I had an album coming out, like, it wasn't I always was striving for more. If I was at the gym, I was never big enough. I was never strong enough. It was always more, more, more. That's the picture I looked at. I looked at that very picture right there, and this all came to me. And I thought, but you know what? I was enough. I I was where I needed to be at that time, and I was enough. And I started thinking, I am enough now. Like, I need to move on. So, anyways, the next single is Enough, and I changed the things I was putting out. I started putting out positive things. I actually did that as a message, saying I was enough on Facebook, and the response was tremendous. People were telling me, like, they identified with that so much, which then in turn made me want to write the song. Um,
You touched a
but
chord with people who also might feel like, or they've been told they're not enough. And I think
yeah,
that you have really dug deep, and that's going to really penetrate at levels beyond it just being a great sounding song. It's going to be one people are going to connect with, and it's going to resonate with many people.
yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
And when music does that,
um,
it's the best. I mean, some of the songs that we love the most, even from our teenage years, are songs that really connected with us, songs that bring us back to a certain time. Maybe it could be childhood, could be first love, it could be holiday, it could be whatever it is. And what's really cool about uh, 6,000 Miles, that's out now, which is the comeback single. And congratulations on
yeah,
that. It has
thank you.
surpassed well over 100,000 listens on YouTube in the first 2 weeks, and currently climbing the up on Spotify radio as well.
Yeah,
Congratulations on that. That's
thank you.
really, they've been waiting for more of Nick.
Thank you. I
You know what I
appreciate that.
mean?
I hope
Right?
so.
You know
I
what it
hope
is?
so. maybe all the people that downloaded the album for free, you know, they're like, oh, wait, he's back.
He's actually really, I know. And Nick isn't doubling anybody. Nick is here, and that's what's cool about it. It's really, really cool. I just want to let
Thank
folks know
you.
too that as you have this wonderful resurgence back into one of your first loves, which is music, you are
Mhm.
also currently producer in the upcoming feature That's Amore, which is a
Mhm.
musical written and directed by some amazing people, award-winning Nick Bellalonga, starring
Yeah.
John Travolta and Katherine Heigl and Christopher Walken, Chaz Palminteri, and also scheduled to be filming in March in
Yep.
Mississippi.
Yeah, we're shooting in Mississippi. Yeah, of all
Wow.
places. But we love Mississippi. Mississippi has been so
Yeah.
wonderful to us, and it's a believe it or not, we're coming back to musicals. So it is a musical. And yes, a dear friend of mine, Nick Vallelonga, who wrote the movie Green Book and won 2 Oscars for writing and for producing. He wrote it and is directing it. And he and John actually grew up in Jersey together in the same neighborhood. Although John's, I think, about 10 years older than Nick, but you know they've all been aware of each other and known each other for many years. So it's it's gonna be a blast. I don't want to give too much away about it, but I will say it is taking us back to John's roots. You know, it's taking us back to Greece. So I'm actually going to get to live out my childhood dream and now be involved in a big musical with John, which is going to be
What a
incredible.
great
I'm
thing. And people,
so looking forward to it.
yeah, people are going to be so happy to see him again too, and that's going to be amazing. I want to let folks know too that in front of the camera, you continue to take on bold, character-driven roles. You star as Mason, the henchman antagonist in the upcoming cyberpunk sci-fi thriller Kill Code,
Yeah.
and that's sounds really, really cool and exciting. And even that genre too might sound new to folks. They're like the upcoming cyberpunk sci-fi thriller. Say that five
Yeah,
times fast.
exactly.
Tell us
Well,
about this.
it's just got it has a really cool vibe to it. The look and the feel. It's kind of it's post-apocalyptic ish. But the you know like the outfits and the wardrobes and all of that. But it's a human story. Um, you know the thing about that, we shot that back in 2022, 2022. Um, and there were some complications and some things that held it back. And then there was a lot of post that needed to be done because there's some special equipment. I don't want to give too much away about it, but there's some special equipment and the trailer is going to be out soon. So we'll definitely put that up and post it for your listeners.
The viewers,
Um,
and yeah, that's exciting.
yeah, but
That is
I play an antagonist in that one. I'm kind of the henchman for one of the main bad guys in the film, and we have some special magnetic equipment where we can throw bullets. So there's that, which makes it really interesting. But the idea is there's all the people basically that are left in this post-apocalyptic world have a watch. This watch can you can run out of if you're not good or you're not following the rules or whatever. There's a certain point where this thing can inject a poison into you and you die. So there's an overall government that has control over all the people that are left in the world. And this wonderful woman finds a way to figure out what's going on,
is
how
this
to
based
fix
on
it,
a true
and
story? Because it sounds so
no, no.
topical and relevant.
Yeah. Not so much a true story, but it is future, maybe future.
Yeah. Several reasons why he's in Italy. As vice president too and head of development and production at Mayday Movie Productions
Mm.
LLC, you've overseen and produced incredible star-driven projects, including Mother's Day with Jennifer Aniston and Julia Roberts, Criminal Activities with John Travolta and Dan Stevens, and Netflix's animated hit Animal Crackers with Emily Blunt and John
John
Krasinski.
Krasinski,
Oh my
Danny
God,
DeVito,
Danny
Ian
DeVito.
McKellen, yeah,
And
Gilbert
your
Gottfried.
Gilbert Godfrey. Oh my God. I mean, what is it like also working with some of these other well-known, celebrated talents through the years as well?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I just, I love the develop. I love seeing things through from the beginning to the end. It's one thing to be brought in and act in a film or double John or whatever it is for projects that have already been developed and they've been put together and now we're getting to shoot it and see it come to fruition. But it's another thing to see it from the start and see it through. Develop a project and shoot the project and go into post and then to see that come to fruition is just a beautiful thing, and I'm pretty particular. I've done this for so long. I just really don't enjoy doing things arbitrarily. I want to do projects that are meaningful, that or interesting, or there's something that just really grabs a hold of you and you just have to do it. You know what I mean? I learned something many years ago. Forgive me for this.
Gets you all choked
I
up.
was well, it gets me choked up. I also was sick for a month, and
Mm,
I still got a
coming
little
back
that
from it.
flu, whatever that flu was going on in LA. I brought it here with me. Hopefully, I didn't give it to
Ah,
anybody here, but
yeah,
it
yeah.
just is like
Yeah.
it just
Tough
drags
one.
on.
Tough one. Yeah.
Um, one thing I learned,
Want to take a sip of the espresso?
yeah, I think
Go
I
ahead.
finished it. Yeah,
You've earned it. And
I
is
think
there
I
any, do
finished it.
you have any wine on the right? Espresso's on the left, but do you have the
I
espresso's the
hate to tell you,
chaser?
I hate to tell you this, but I am in Italy. So there's this.
Oh, they
I
see,
have
he's
a
all
glass. This is going to sound really crazy. I don't know. I can't shoot. Well, yeah, I guess I could shoot it. All right. Here's what is holding up. Can you see that?
holding down.
Right
There you
here.
go.
You see that glass of wine there? That's what's
Very
holding up my
nice.
phone so that we can have this
Oh,
interview.
it's cool too. You got the Olympics on because they're happening right in Milan, right there in
They're
Italy. I saw on the
actually
TV you
right
got the
behind
Olympics.
right behind me. If I walked out onto the patio right here, the mountain that's the mountain that's right behind me is where the Olympics are going on. So we're very close.
How cool is that, huh?
Did you
But
hear?
even with that, I don't doubt that having the Olympics one mountain away from you is probably hasn't created traffic the equivalent of what they have in Los Angeles or
Oh,
Washington D.C.
are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, no. Oh, that is the one thing I do not miss about Los Angeles, man.
The
That
traffic,
is oh, I
four
live in
lane.
Long Beach, which is like,
Oh yeah,
20, not far. I mean, it's 20 miles or so from, going up into LA or whatever. Anytime I have to go up there, I just dread it now because it's going to be 2 hours just to drive 20 miles. It's like hour and a half, 2 hour. I mean, it's just, that's insane. Yeah, no, this is, I could get to the mountains, where they're
you're right
having the
there
Olympics in like
with the
40
Olympics.
minutes. Yeah, yeah.
Has the family over the years, folks, family who rooted you on, early on as a kid, a teenager, 20-year-old, all the way up, have they been able to see the success and enjoy and revel in your success?
Yeah, yeah, the family has always been very supportive. Yeah, yeah, I mean that's been great to
Because
have the support of
sometimes it doesn't
yeah,
happen.
pretty much everybody. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes they're not around or things happen, they pass or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. What are some other cool things you have coming up you're excited about, Nick?
Well, gosh, we've got some other projects that are in development right now. We've got one that I developed with George Gallo and Nick Vallelonga, who I'm doing That's Amore with. But George Gallo wrote Midnight Run. He wrote Bad Boys. He created the Bad Boys franchise. One of my dear friends. We've got a movie called The Big House that we developed for Travolta and Sam Jackson to put them two back together, which is kind of and Nathan Lane, but um, it, what would I liken it to? It is stir crazy meets birdcage. Also has a musical
Wow.
element to it. But two unlikely friends get tossed into prison wrongfully. And in prison, they turn things around. John is a Broadway producer who's seen better days, and Sam is a celebrity chef who has also seen better days. And they get to help turn the prison around in a very unconventional way with the help of Nathan Lane, the warden, and the world's greatest actor who right now we're working on getting together. But I think
That's going to
it's going to be
be.
a blast. Yeah, that is
Do
going
you
to be a
have a
blast.
preference for drama, thriller, comedy? Is there anything, or do you like all of it?
I just love good stories. I love it really doesn't matter. We have another George and I Gallo, and I have another thriller, kind of a thriller horror movie that is scary and gritty and has wonderful twists to it, called The Castle, that I love just as much. So it's not really a genre thing. It's just a great story is a great story, and that's what I was going to say. So something I learned many years ago: there's three times you get to make a movie. The script. So when I'm developing a project at the script level, it's wonderful because you get to be involved in the process of making sure you're telling the story you really want to tell on screen. So that's your first opportunity. Create the best script you possibly can. The second opportunity is making the movie. So when you're actually physically producing and shooting the film, the actors bring something, like they get into character, and there's things that are discovered, or they go, my guy wouldn't say that. This is what he would say. And you go, oh, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Like, you start to see the evolution of these characters, and you discover things when you're shooting that you didn't think of when you were just writing a script, kind of thinking this is how, everything should come together. So that's your second opportunity. And then you get to edit the film. Suddenly you're going, okay, wait a minute. Why are we doing it chronologically? Like, let's put the end at the very beginning. So everybody is like, it's an Alfred Hitchcock thing. Put the bomb under the table before 12 guys come into a room and sit there and talk for an hour. And suddenly just 12 guys in a room talking for an hour is like, what's going to happen? Like, when is that bomb going to go off? Who put the bomb in there? Who did it? And you get to, write the film one more time when you edit the film. So you have three opportunities to make a great film, which is really exciting, because if you start with a great script, it should only get better as you're putting everything together. So then to see it come together in the end and be able to put it out there for people to see is it's thrilling. It's also like, I hope they like it, because you never know.
Exactly right. The folks that are asking about the music too, it
Mhm.
is on Spotify now, and people
Yep.
can go everywhere to get the song.
Yes, it's
That's
on
right.
Spotify. I think it's on. I mean, Spotify is kind of the big thing. Everybody, most
iTunes and other. Yeah,
iTunes and, yeah, wherever you get Apple, you name it. It's available, I think, everywhere right now. But Spotify seems to be the big thing that's catching on right now. So we did the single 6,000 miles, and then we did a Afro Beats remix, because the song itself is very adult. It's very grown up, and it's got a very cool vibe. But we also wanted to do something that felt upbeat and fun, and that the younger generations could listen to and appreciate, which is kind of what's happened, because the older folks I play the original for, they go, oh yeah, that's the jam, that's the song right there. And then the younger, kids, I say kids, 20 to 30-year-olds, listen to the Afrobeats version, and they're like, oh yeah, that's my jam right there. Oh, I like the other one, but that one, that's cool. So hopefully we hit a chord with the remix as well. But I'm very proud of how both of them have come out. And again, it came from a very real, it's my story. It's my story, meeting Cassia 6,000 miles away,
Mm.
and how we've come together and are here for each other at this point. So it's a beautiful thing to see it resonate with other people.
Why do you love so much what you do? You've gone through a lot of different things in your life, but you're learning from it all and you're pulling elements of it and sharing it through your art. What are some of the things that are still continued blessings and joy for you to keep you moving forward, creating and staying connected with all of us and entertaining us and creating great music and great movies and television work, all of it, Nick?
Well, I think it's just, it's that kid in me still. I'm a big kid. I just I love what I do. I love creating. I love to see something from inception through to completion and be able to share that with the world. And I always hope that it resonates the way that you want it to. And I I think it's just it's an evolution. It's life, and we all grow and we change and we go through stuff that we don't choose and we don't want to go through, but it's part of life, and it's how you come out at the other end. I think that makes you human, and to be able to tell these human stories through my own inspirations, whether it's through film and in that medium, or it's through my music and songs. Um, it's an emotional journey for me. I'm a very emotional person, so to me, the payoff is that I get to express myself in a way and share a piece of myself, which is kind of exposing, but at the same time, it's gratifying too for me, especially when it resonates. When it resonates with people, and I hear feedback, or I hear, that's my story, or that's what I went through, or it inspires somebody in some way. I think that's what it's all about, And I hope, somewhere down the line that I've made some kind of a difference at some point.
That's beautiful. That's what we all want to do. And you're doing it, Nick, and you've done it for a long time. This was really a fantastic conversation, as we call them, not interviews, but free flowing conversations. And the audience getting a chance to learn a little bit more about somebody they've seen on TV and in film and music that they've listened to from you. And now he's got some new exciting things he's working on. He's coming back with the music you've been waiting for. He's got these other cool projects he's working on with John Travolta and others. And it's cool stuff. And you have found a beautiful person to spend time and life with. She has found you. So, the moon is turning in a different direction in a positive way, going from some darkness to some light, which is a really important and cool thing. And you're lucky in that regard. And you have wonderful, kids. And so there's a lot out there for you. Nick, this was a pleasure. And I really appreciate your coming on the Jim Masters Show series. And we always tell all the guests, we keep the porch light on for them. So you are welcome back here at, you'll love this. When I started this show almost 6 years ago, the one time I slipped up, it was during the pandemic. And I said, the show has a lot of light, love, and levity. And, we all need that in our lives, but especially then when I started this series, we all needed
Right.
that. One time I
Right.
said it, ever the East Coast New York person, I said it too fast, and I said the show has a lot of light. Instead of saying light, love, levity, I said the show has a lot of light, levity. I said the word levity. And the audience,
Love it.
they went crazy with it. They're like, wow, we love that word. So now,
Levity.
guess you're Mr. Levity. This is Levity Hall. The guests are part of the Levity
Nice.
family, and the
Oh,
viewers are
nice.
part of the Levity squad. So We all
I
need
love
some of
that.
that in our lives, and you're surrounded by it, my friend. So we keep the porch light
Thank
on
you.
for the guests. You're welcome back anytime. Spread the word about
Thank
our
you.
show. We'll spread the word about
Absolutely.
all of your material. And I really hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Nick.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim. This has been an absolute pleasure, and I appreciate you, everything that you do, and you just keep plugging away, man. You're bringing light and levity to everybody.
Appreciate that. And you were familiar with the work, which is amazing. And yeah, and I'm familiar with you and have always enjoyed your work. So
Thank you.
symbiotic. So sending us some good vibes from back home across the big pond, my friend. You be
Thank
well,
you.
and
You too.
come join us again, okay?
Absolutely. You don't even have to ask twice. Just say today, and I'll be there.
But maybe next time I'll be over there with you, and we'll be looking
Ah,
out at
there we
that
go.
mountain,
All right.
watching the skiers.
There you go. Awesome.
Thanks, Nick. You
Thank
be well,
you.
okay?
Thank you. You too. Talk
All
to you
right.
soon.
Be well.
All right.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Wow, how cool was that, folks? Hope you enjoyed that. What a great episode and terrific conversation with Nick Loren, celebrated television, film, actor, producer extraordinaire, and John Travolta's stunt double. And wow, he's done that for many, many years and still working on projects with John Travolta, and of course, new music out on Spotify and iTunes and everywhere else. And as Nick Loren, you've seen him in a lot of great shows and movies over the years. Some of them we have, displayed in the early part of our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, well, boy, would we love it if you gave us a thumbs up like, gang. It really does help us when you do. Give it a thumbs up like, share it on your social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and also leave a comment below. If you enjoyed our episode of the Jim Masters Show, leave a comment below. We love hearing from you. We love all of your comments. It really means the world to us. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We thank Nick. He was coming to us from Italy. So that's why we had our fingers crossed that the signal, the Wi-Fi, would stay up, and it did. And we're so happy about that. Coming to you from New York, this is the Jim Masters Show, celebrity talk show series. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Now, of course, don't go anywhere, because another episode of our series comes up in just a moment, just for you. So stick around. Hey, if you like what you're seeing here on the Jim Masters Show, celebrity talk show series, don't keep it a secret. Tell a friend and help us grow even more. It's always great to have you here, whether you watch live or you watch this in the archives. In fact, check out the archives. We have hundreds of other episodes that you can dig into, binge watch, and enjoy with some of your favorites from television, film, and Broadway, and Hollywood, and music, and so much more, all for you. Jim Masters here. Thanks for being with us. Stay right there. Another great episode comes up of the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. Be well, and cheers.